He was 16 years old. He had 500 knights. Saladin had 26,000. He also couldn't hold his own reins. They had to tie him to the saddle. Saladin didn't even bother forming a battle line. Why would he? 8 days later, the most powerful man in the Middle East crossed into Egypt on a pack camel, with 1/10 of the men he left with, and sent letters ahead to tell people he was still alive. Because everyone had assumed he wasn't. This is the battle nobody teaches you. And almost everything you think you know about the boy who won it was invented by a film. Start with what's actually wrong with him. When Baldwin was 9, his tutor, a man named William of Tyre, who later became an archbishop and wrote it down himself, watched him playing with the other noble boys. The game was simple. They dug their fingernails into each other's arms. Whoever cried out first lost. Baldwin never cried out. The other boys thought he was tough. William looked closer. Baldwin's right arm was already torn open, and he hadn't felt a thing. That is how you diagnose leprosy in the 12th century, with a children's game. So, his right hand is dying. It will not hold a rein, and it will not hold a sword. He will eventually go blind. Everyone in the palace knows what's coming, and everyone in the palace is quietly waiting for it to finish. And here is the detail that gets left out of every version of this story. Somebody taught him to ride anyway. Baldwin learned to control a warhorse one-handed. Not with a trick, not with a special saddle, with technique. And the historian Bernard Hamilton, who wrote the definitive modern study of his reign, is specific about where that technique came from. An Arab riding master, the boy who is about to become the most famous Christian king to ever fight Saladin, learned to fight on horseback from the culture he was fighting. Nobody in the 12th century seems to have found this strange. It is only strange now. Saladin. In 1177, he is not a name in a book. He is the most dangerous man alive, and he is also, and this matters, not yet safe. He has taken Egypt. He has taken Damascus. He has stitched together Cairo and Baghdad for the first time in 2 centuries. But in Egypt, they distrust him because he is Sunni. And in Syria, they call him a usurper because he is a Kurd who took a throne that wasn't his. His grip is new. It is not yet firm. Remember that. It is going to matter more than any number in this story. In November, he marches out of Egypt with 26,000 men, because the bulk of the Frankish army has gone north, and the kingdom of Jerusalem is standing there with its door open. Baldwin rides to Ascalon with 375 knights. He goes out to meet Saladin. He looks at what is in front of him, and he does the correct thing, which is turn around and take his army back inside the walls. Saladin looks at the gate the boy just closed, and makes the only mistake he will make all year. He decides Baldwin does not matter. He doesn't besiege Ascalon. He doesn't leave a force to watch it. He doesn't even post scouts. He walks past the fortress with the king of Jerusalem inside it, and marches on toward Jerusalem itself. And then he lets his army spread out. 26,000 men scattered across the coastal plain to loot. Ramla, Lydda, everything with a roof. In Jerusalem, the population is hiding inside the citadel of David. There is nothing left to stop him, and everybody knows it. Behind him, the boy opens the gate. Here is where almost every retelling of this battle says the word miracle. It wasn't won. First, Baldwin can't fight with cavalry alone. Frankish tactics need infantry to hold and cavalry to break. So he calls the arrière-ban, a general summons that legally obligates every able-bodied man in the realm to come to the king. Townspeople start walking toward him. Not soldiers, bakers. Second, he sends word to Gaza, where 80-odd Templars are pinned. They break out and ride to him. And third, the part that actually wins the battle. He does not attack. He shadows. He keeps his little army near Saladin's, and he moves it along a track that runs parallel to the main road. A local path, the kind of path you only know if you grew up on this ground. The historian Michael Ehrlich, reassessing this battle in medieval military history, lays out what Baldwin was actually doing. He passed close enough to Saladin's camp to be seen, close enough to be worth chasing, and then he drew Saladin off the main road, into ground of his own choosing. Marshland. It is late November. The rains have started, and the flat coastal plain of the Levant in the rainy season is not sand, it is mud. Standing water, soft ground. Think about what that does. Saladin's army is built on speed. Light horse, horse archers, men who win by moving, by shooting from distance, by never being where the enemy swings. Mud takes all of that away. It takes away the retreat, it takes away the maneuver, and it turns 26,000 men into 26,000 men standing in a bog. Ehrlich's phrase is the one worth keeping. Numerical superiority became a burden, rather than an advantage. Saladin's baggage train is already stuck. Egyptian chroniclers agree on that. The supply column bogged down at a water crossing. Saladin is not walking into a battle. He is walking into a trap that a 16-year-old built out of local knowledge and weather. If you're still here, this is the channel. Small armies, impossible ground, and the parts of history that got quietly rewritten. Subscribe, and you'll be here for the next one. Now Saladin looks up. It is the afternoon of the 25th of November, near a hill the Arabs call Al-Safiya. It means the white one. The rock is pale, and there's a half-built crusader castle on top of it that the Franks call Blanchegard, the White Guard. That is the ground. A white hill, gray rain, and a wet plain. Saladin sees the Franks and tries to form a line. He organizes a center, 2 forward wings, one under his nephew Taqi ad-Din. And it is already too late. Because his cavalry hasn't rested since Egypt, his horses are exhausted. And you cannot assemble 26,000 men out of 10 miles of countryside in the time it takes a night to lower a lance. Then the Franks come. Understand what a Frankish charge in 1177 actually is. 500 armored men, male from neck to knee, riding destriers, animals bred for nothing but this, with a wooden lance couched under the arm. They do not fence, they do not skirmish. They are a wall of iron traveling in one direction, and their entire purpose is to arrive all at once. The Templars go for the center. 80 men in white surcoats with red crosses, straight at Saladin's own bodyguard. And behind them, tied to his saddle, riding one-handed with the technique an Arab horseman taught him, is the king. The line does not bend, it breaks. And now the ground starts killing them, because Saladin's men are horse archers. Everything they know how to do, shoot, wheel away, come back, shoot again, needs open ground and a horse that can move. In a marsh, a light horse sinks. It cannot wheel, it cannot run, and a bow is a weapon for distance. At the end of a lance, it is a stick. 26,000 men discover, all at once, that every skill they have is useless, and the only thing left is to get away, through mud that holds their horses by the legs. They can't. The Templars go through the center and into Saladin's own bodyguard, his Mamluks, the closest, best-trained men he has, and they are cut apart. His nephew, Taqi ad-Din, is fighting on the wing. His nephew's son, Ahmad, is killed in front of him. Behind the army, the baggage train is still stuck at the water crossing. It never gets away. Everything Saladin brought out of Egypt, the plunder, the supplies, the tents, is standing in the mud, waiting to be taken. And Saladin escapes on a pack camel. That is not a joke. Every account agrees. The most powerful man in the Middle East, on a baggage animal, riding for Egypt. They are chased for 12 miles. The men who make it out of the marsh are cold, wet, unarmed, and hundreds of miles from home, in a country they have just spent a week burning. The villagers they robbed at Ramla and Lydda come out to meet them. Past the border, the Bedouin come out to take them for slaves. Saladin reaches Cairo on the 8th of December, with roughly 1/10 of his army. He has lost his bodyguard, his baggage, and his nephew's son. And this is the part the numbers hide. Baldwin's victory was a slaughter on both sides. Roger de Moulins, Grand Master of the Hospitallers, counted the cost. 1,100 Franks dead. 750 came back wounded out of an army of a few thousand. The boy won, and it very nearly emptied his kingdom. Now, Saladin. He gets to Cairo, and he is not just beaten, he is exposed. His hold on Egypt and Syria was never secure, and he genuinely expects this defeat to trigger a revolt that ends him. He tells himself, God spared him for a reason. Because the alternative explanation is that he is finished. And then he does the thing that destroys Baldwin's kingdom. He learns. Saladin never allows himself to be that confident again. Every campaign he runs after Montgisard is more careful, more patient, more disciplined. He stops assuming. 10 years later, at a place called Hattin, that patience annihilates the kingdom of Jerusalem in a single afternoon. The lesson that killed Baldwin's kingdom is the lesson Baldwin taught him. One last thing. You probably came here with a picture in your head of this boy. A silver mask, a quiet voice, a face nobody was allowed to see. That mask is not real. It was invented for a film in 2005, and it is a beautiful invention. And it is a lie. The medieval accounts say Baldwin did not hide. There is no mask in them. He was carried out in front of his own men and his own enemies, with his face bare and his hands wrapped. And by the end he was blind and could not walk, and they brought him to the field on a litter, and he still came. The mask makes him tragic. The truth makes him something harder. He was 16. He couldn't hold his reins, so they tied him to the saddle. And he went anyway.